The German war is therefore at an end. We may allow ourselves a brief period of rejoicing. Today is Victory in Europe Day. Advance Britannia! Long live the cause of freedom! God save the King!
Hi everyone, welcome back to Queenie of London. Thank you so much for popping back to my channel. I am all dressed up like a Union Jack because this is a very special edition VE80 vlog. I want to pack this vlog out with everything that commemorates and celebrates this incredible historic occasion. I'm saying no more. Grab yourselves some tea and some egg and cress sandwiches with the crust cut off, some sausage rolls, everything you need for a street party. Kick back, relax and enjoy this special edition VE80 vlog. Let's go. So we have come up to Duke of York Square because from past occasions you can catch the Flypast going over here, and I thought it would be really fun to see all the beautiful planes as they come from Buckingham Palace out to the south coast. So keep on watching and hopefully see some of these brilliant historic and really new planes. I missed my former. Oh! That's better. I missed my former. There's one like that. They carry the vehicles. Look, see, look. They carry the vehicles underneath. Look. Oh wow! That's a Globe Master. Oh look! Woohoo! Oh my goodness! This is brilliant! Woo! Woo! Whoa, the noise of them! Hi everyone, welcome to Wednesday along the banks of the Thames. I am here to pick up an Uber Clipper boat from Chelsea Harbour Pier, which is what you can just see there, the white gangway going down to the water, because I thought I'd travel in style on the Thames to my special VE80 destination today. And whilst I'm doing it, you'll get some really pretty views of all the beautiful London icons along the banks of the Thames on either side. I'm going to pick up as much as I can for you. And you can imagine those very banks being flooded with people 80 years ago who were celebrating because rejoicing was not on the ration. And I'm pretty much alone. I was the only person that got on at Chelsea Harbour, and let me tell you, this is pretty speedy. I'm going to just go over the other side because I think that's got the most stuff that you'll want to see, although I'm pretty sure I can move about this vessel. Just about to go under. Gorgeous Battersea Bridge. I love going under bridges. Look at that. And then this is my favourite. This is Cheney Walk, Chelsea. Look at this. This is just the best. And look what's about to occur. We're going to go under my favourite bridge in all of London. It's Albert. Gorgeous Albert, who lights up overnight. Look at him looking resplendent. This is so much fun. This is the only way to commute, right? Here you go, give you a bit of a different vantage. Oh, engine going off. There's also another pier at Cadogan, but that's really good if you're using it in the morning. Wow, look at the splash. Go on, little boat, go on. Park. Chelsea Bridge. Thank you to the well-timed buses going over for me. We're just pulling into Battersea, I believe, and look at this for a view in the distance. There he is! Beautiful Battersea Power Station, famous for my granddad and Pink Floyd. just mooring at the dreaming spires of Vauxhall. Everybody knows what that building is. Spires over there. To spires over here. That pale building there. MI6. And you know what's coming up ahead. That was Millbank Millennium Pier. Millbank is such a fascinating place to walk along. I made a whole video about it ages ago. So if you're interested, you can have a little look at that. And I go all the way up to the Palace of Westminster. I genuinely think the best place to get the best pictures of the Houses of Parliament is whilst you're on a boat on the Thames. Gonna have a bit of a try in Big Ben. I've missed you, haven't I? What a shame, maybe on the way back. of the moment, the BE-80, the Survivor. Such a symbol.
Yandı. Devrelerimi yaptım.
So we are indeed at the Tower of London, and I've just got my ticket and I've made my way through the various checks to the entrance here, which is rather fabulous because here would have been a drawbridge to go into the actual fortress, which was obviously designed to keep people out rather than letting them in. And here would have been the moat. And up there is Tower Hill, where they did all the executing. Most of the executing. Some of it was done in here, but you had to be very well connected to be disconnected in the actual tower. So I'm going to make my way inside, and then we've actually come to see something very particular. So I'll see you in there. But before we go within those tower walls, let me tell you something about this here moat. In October 1939, the British government introduced a campaign calling for the public to turn green spaces into allotments. Lawns, flower beds, sports pitches, gardens and parks were transformed into vegetable patches as the Ministry of Agriculture urged the British people to dig for victory. The campaign aimed to make sure people had enough food and to keep morale high. Britain imported a great deal of its food, and German U-boat attacks on merchant shipping exposed the public to the threat of starvation. Everyone was expected to do his or her bit to help the war effort, and the tower was no exception. Located in the historic borough of Tower Hamlets, the tower joined the East End in following the government's advice to grow vegetables. The moat became an allotment where residents, including the yeoman warders, planted crops. But the moat had been used to grow vegetables and grave livestock before, as early as the 1890s. As this is a special VE80 vlog, I'll make sure to pop in a few more facts about the Tower of London during the Second World War as we walk around. When you're walking around, you can see the shard just sticking its oar in. I must say, this lanthorn tower here is my idea of a dream house. I've always wanted to live in a turret and look at those windows. There's a battlement on the top there, and I could walk around the ramparts here and look at my view. Just look, and the shard. More cannons. Everything draws you into the fact that this was a garrison and a fortress. Absolutely love it. I'm probably not going to do much history today because there are tons of videos on YouTube about the glorious history of the Tower of London. I am specifically coming to have a look at Poppies, and there's some bunting up there which makes me really happy. I'm literally just roaming at the moment before I go to the main event. In 2014, to commemorate the centenary of the First World War, 888,246 ceramic poppies flooded the site of what had once been the tower's moat, each single one intended to honour and remember one British or colonial serviceman killed in the Great War. The name of the installation, and I find it rather too cold to keep just calling it that because it feels like so much more really, was taken from the first line of a poem by an unknown soldier, "Blood-swept lands and seas of red." The poem, contained in the soldier's unsigned will, was found by artist and designer Paul Cummins among records in Chesterfield, Derbyshire, and it was taken up and used by stage designer Tom Piper as inspiration for a commemorative display. The poppies were all individually handmade at Cummins's ceramic works in Derbyshire and at Johnson's Tiles in Tunstall, Stoke-on-Trent. Good old Stoke, also known as the Potteries, provided not only the manufacturing equipment needed, but also the Etruscan earthenware the poppies were made from. You don't get more made in England than that. And as someone who loves her Stoke-on-Trent pottery, the origins and manufacture behind the poppies make them even more special. In total, around 17,500 volunteers came together to individually plant all those poppies, a true and clear message that the present was honouring, respecting and remembering the heroes of our past. The last poppy was planted on the 11th of November, Remembrance Day, by a 13-year-old cadet. Back in 2014, you could purchase a poppy and the proceeds would go to 6 service charities. 2 parts of the original 2014 display, Wave and Weeping Window, were taken on a tour which would last until the centenary of the armistice in 2018. I appropriately went to go and see the poppies when they came home to Stoke-on-Trent. Seeing them weep down the side of one of the pottery's cherished bottle oven kilns at Middleport Pottery was an incredibly moving sight. I think it was also such a meaningful thing that the poppies travelled up and down the country, honouring the brave local men and women who lost their lives. With every stop on the map, they brought the past and present together, and with every stem signalled just how much war affected everyone and everywhere, from big cities to small hamlets. And now the poppies have returned to the tower, and we're here to see them. This is my first peek of the Norman White Tower. This is the oldest keep anywhere in Europe, I believe, certainly in England. Just having a little stroll around it. Everywhere I look there's just views, views, views. I believe that one on the end there is its only circular point, only circular part of the tower. There's one of the lovely yeoman warders there having a chat, and up here is Geoffrey Chaucer. He worked here, you know, Geoffrey Chaucer. He was a clerk of the words. I think he looked after the special collections for the king. There he is, look. How cool is this? Bringing the past to life. Should we have a little watch? I like Geoffrey Chaucer.
Thank you very much!
Woo! Go away! Can you see the sentry boxes? The sentry boxes have a member of the Queen's Guard in there, because King's Guard, I always do this. I'm still not used to it, because in this beautiful building here, is it the Wellington Barracks? Is it Wellington? I think it's called Wellington. I haven't got my map on me, I'm sorry. In there are the crown jewels, so that's why it's guarded. Unfortunately, I can't take you to see the Queen today, or the crown that was dropped on the floor and Queen Victoria called it flattened like a pudding. I can't show you that either, because filming is strictly prohibited, and that they've got the cannons in case you get your cannon out. So during the war, the actual crown jewels were removed from the Tower of London, and nobody told anybody where they'd gone. But now, with the benefit of historical knowledge, we can tell you that they were in fact moved to Windsor Castle for safekeeping. Over there, with the black doors, that's the Queen's house, and it was reportedly designed and built for Anne Boleyn shortly before she was executed on that very green. poor Anne. I'm into Anne Boleyn. I'm actually forcing myself to stop speaking because I wrote my entire undergraduate dissertation on Anne Boleyn. Oh look, he's doing a bit of live action. Actually, have a look. There's a lovely memorial over there for the people that were executed on the green. It's one of the yeoman warders giving a tour. And in the background there is the chapel. That's a very, very old chapel. It has been rebuilt a couple of times, but in there it's most notable for the people that are laid to rest. For example, Anne Boleyn and Lady Jane Grey.
Anne Boleyn, not the execution.
So whilst I'm standing here by Tower Green and the Queen's house, I want to tell you how during the Second World War, the Tower again became a prison for high-status prisoners. The most high-profile prisoner was Rudolf Hess, deputy Führer of the Nazi Party and Adolf Hitler's right-hand man. On the 10th of May 1941, Hess flew from an airfield in Augsburg, Bavaria, on a solo flight to Scotland. He bailed out from his plans at the last minute and parachuted into a field just outside Glasgow. Hess's motive for this mission remains one of the great unsolved mysteries of the Second World War. Some people suggest that Hess intended, with or without Hitler's permission, to negotiate a peace between Germany and the United Kingdom. Other historians believe he was lured to Britain by the British Secret Intelligence Service. Hess was captured and taken to the King's House at the Tower of London on the 17th of May 1941, where many prisoners had been interrogated, including, get this, Guy Fawkes. Lodged under the tightest security, he was held for 4 days until he was removed from the Tower, and he spent the rest of the war as a prisoner at Mytchett Place in Surrey. At the Nuremberg trials of 1946, Hess was sentenced to life imprisonment in Spandau, West Berlin, where he remained until his death in 1987, aged 93. Hess was one of the last state prisoners to be held at the Tower. I'd now like to tell you the fascinating story of the only spy to be executed at the Tower during the Second World War. Joseph Jacobs was conscripted into the German army during the First World War, where he was shot in the chest whilst on duty. He recovered and worked as a dentist. When the Nazi Party rose to power, he sold black market passports to Jewish people fleeing the country. He was eventually arrested by the Gestapo in 1938. After 2 years, Jacobs was released in exchange for his services as a spy in England. Like many spies, Jacobs was not so suited for espionage, but the government needed agents for tricky missions. Jacobs allegedly confided to a friend that he planned to help the British intelligence so that he could secure safe passage to America. Jacobs was captured on the 1st of February 1941 by 2 farm workers after he was injured whilst parachuting into England. He claimed he had arrived from Hamburg and wasn't part of the war, but he was found with a wireless transmitter, a small torch with a flashing device, and a map that marked the nearby positions of the RAF aerodrome in Upwood Village and the satellite airfield in Warboys Village. That's pretty incriminating evidence. Jacobs was taken to the Tower of London and was executed on the 15th of August 1941 in the miniature rifle range, the very same location Karl-Heinz Lodi and 8 other spies had been executed during the First World War. With his last words, Jacobs told the Tommies to shoot straight. He was buried in an unmarked grave in St Mary's Roman Catholic Cemetery in northwest London. So this year's poppy display are meant to really highlight the fact that the Tower of London itself was bombed during the Blitz, and these poppies up here, which is like the beginning, they signify a wound. I love the way they put them up there. So it's a wound, and then it's splashing down to the corner of the White Tower here, and then spreading all the way down into the area that was the moat. And I'm sure I'm going to talk about the tower during wartime a little bit more, while you enjoy some shots of the poppies too. On VE Day in 1945, after years of nightly blackouts, searchlights swept over the famous buildings of the capital. Many of them had sustained damage, but they stood strong, acting themselves as powerful symbols of triumph over tyranny. One of those very buildings, one of the very oldest, was this, the White Tower of the Tower of London. The Norman keep was illuminated with the light of freedom, and 80 years later, here I am to witness the tower once again celebrate this victory, whilst honouring those who made the greatest of sacrifices to ensure that light of freedom blazed on. At the outbreak of the war, the Tower Armouries, who are responsible for looking after historic arms and armour in the fortress, removed objects from their collection, including Henry VIII's armour. Tower residents, so the yeoman warders and their families, were issued with gas masks and steel helmets and prepared themselves for regular blackout drills. By autumn, the vacated galleries in the White Tower were repurposed for the military. Chambers were used as a sports room and concert hall for troops, with a canteen and even a library on the ground floor, and of course there was an air raid shelter in the basement. The famous execution block and axe were put on display for soldiers to have a look at while at the tower. Armouries gave lectures and tours. Tours of the tower were later offered to Dominion troops as well as British forces and their allies. From the 7th of September 1940 to the 10th of May 1941, London and the rest of the United Kingdom experienced nightly aerial bombardment in what came to be known as the Blitz. The East End of London became a strategic target for the German bombers in a plan to destroy the docks and warehouses that lined the Thames. Whilst the only German bomb to fall on the tower during the First World War had landed in the moat, the aerial bombardment of the Second World War caused significant damage. On the 23rd of September, high explosive bombs destroyed a large section of the Mint, as well as the north section of the old hospital block. The Blitz caused significant damage across the fortress, including to the moat, the main guard and the tower wharf. Many direct hits also disrupted gas, water and electricity supplies for the tower's residents, and tragically, some of those raids cost those stationed and living in the tower their lives. For example, a bomb struck the fortress on the 5th of October 1940, blowing apart the massive North Bastion and narrowly missing the White Tower. No shelters were dug at the tower, though some basements were reinforced and used as refuge during air raids. On the 10th of October, the yeoman warders were advised to evacuate their families to the countryside. The tower continued to face aerial bombardment until the end of the Blitz in May 1941. The plan of the Tower of London records locations of bomb strikes between September and December 1940. The tower, however, reopened to tourists in 1946, although the bomb damage from the Blitz was highly visible and yet to be cleared. I love how you can how they've actually deployed like the ruin of this particular part here of the wall to put a poppy in there, and how you can see through to more poppies. It just gives you a sort of feeling of the extent of loss, really, because you're just looking through and all you can see is that red. It is very, very poignant. It does get to you. And then look how that looks from there. Those holes have actually also reminded me that during blackouts, like curators and those in charge of the tower and the yeoman warders, they actually found it hard to stop sunlight coming out of the keep, because you see like the slits, light was just coming out, so they actually had to have someone come in and just completely strip the power, so there was nothing at all. Quite incredible. I'm loving how that looks. It's just so powerful. So right here is a really popular part. This is the bloody tower, and there's a little sign for it, and then I love this notice. Look. It is pretty grim, but it's also pretty poignant how they've got the poppies sort of all going down this area here. That, I guess, is like its end, and that leads down. This would have all been flooded with water, as you can kind of tell by the stone, and then they lead up here. I love how they're gathered here. The shine on them as well, they are so beautiful. I know you could buy them before, when there were so many more thousands of them. You could buy them. I wish I had. Absolutely love this picture. Walking through this arch of the bloody tower, and I love that you can see a bit of the drawbridge, the gates, and then Traitor's Gate. Thank you so much, that beefy to walking by at an opportune moment. Traitor's Gate there. So from that corner of the poppies of the bloody tower, where there would have been water, and there still is water here, the poppies have come. This is my favourite part so far. This is absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning. You all know about Traitor's Gate, don't you? The prisoners would be transported along the Thames to be imprisoned at the tower. This is 13th century. I believe it was built in the 1200s by Edward I. And many of those prisoners would never return. No return journey for them, unlike me today on my Thames clipper. So the poppies kind of, although they're for our heroes, they also kind of make you think about death of the people that died in the tower as well. So I've just popped out momentarily because there's the Thames, and if I just pan you across to this point here, here is the entrance to the tower via Traitor's Gate, and there are the poppies, and they're flowing out into the Thames. this wonderfully imposing building up ahead is the Fusiliers Museum, and I believe the building by it there used to be an old hospital block where prisoners of war went to receive treatment. All around you at the Tower of London there's a story about its place during wartime, and also I'm just gonna bring you back round here again where that remnant of the wardrobe is, to tell you a bit about something that happened on that part of the inner moat. I believe it's called the Western Moat, and it's really windy up here, but it's really adding to the ambience. I like it. I've just had a little look about this picture here, and it's a barrage balloon, and these were suspended in quite a lot of places above the London skyline to prevent against enemy planes from dropping dive bombers, and they were actually looked after later on in the war by the Women's Auxiliary Air Force. But there was one here in the Western Moat, and it was put in 1940 to protect our beautiful white tower, so it must have done quite a good job. I have decided to elevate the view. I feel like this is like the best place to come because you're totally free. You just walk around everywhere and you can go in the turrets, in the towers, all different bits. I mean, look, I'm just going up high. Oh wow, that's cool. I am so glad I came up here because the bunting is outside the Yeoman Warden's very own private pub, and they've got their Union flags fluttering. This is amazing. There's a chap here as well, this sculpture. Here we are. How incredible is that? It's got to be the best little secret place in all of London. Oh yes. I wish I could go in there. Apparently there's a signature of Rudolf Hess in there, who was kept here as a prisoner during the war. And in here live the ravens, and if the ravens ever leave the tower will fall. Where are the ravens? I just heard one go over my head. Apparently they're fed biscuits dipped in blood. They like it. There's one, look, they're huge. They're looked after by the raven moss. They've got clipped wings, whoa. But they can fly. And they have the run of the place. Sounds like a good life to me. Look at him in there as well. I love ravens. Look at this one. Let me get you a close-up. Hello. This one's vocal. Where'd he go? I love how they put the elephant there. You might have seen a few of these by now. I know there's some monkeys I've been keeping my eye out for, but I haven't found them. But there's animals about the place because the Tower of London was kind of like a royal menagerie at one point. Gifts of animals, exotic animals, were very popular things to give if you were a royal or a visiting royal. So animals appeared, and long story short, they weren't, they couldn't really be looked after very well, so they ended up being put in Regent's Park and formed the basis of London Zoo. And how's that for a bit of a view of Tower Bridge? I love how the gates still have Queen Elizabeth's insignia on. So that concludes my visit to the Tower of London to see the Poppies for today. I hope you enjoyed having a little look at it, guys, and I hope I've popped in enough historical information for you. I'm going to get the boat back. I didn't think I was going to, but I think I will. I mean, I think I owe you a bit of footage from the stuff on the other side of the river. So I'm heading down to Tower Pier and I'm going to catch a boat home. It's the only way. It's the only way. I'm spoilt for life now. I'm just going to travel by boat everywhere I go. It's fantastic. How do you get on a Thames beast? They look epic. Oh yes, I'm officially a sailor.
Any passengers on board for London Bridge, exit the front please, that's the front of the vessel for London Bridge.
Over there is HMS Belfast. I'm not going to compete with the noise of the high seas. I will insert some knowledge for you, but obviously another one of our heroes from the Second World War. I bloody love London. Bye, Tower. So there she is, resplendent, isn't she? HMS Belfast, who served actively in the Second World War. She was commissioned just before the war began, and boy did she see significant action, including in the Battle of North Cape, the Normandy landings, and the Korean War. HMS Belfast returned from its wartime service during the Korean War on September the 27th, 1952. She had been on active duty in the Korean War for 404 days, serving alongside other Allied forces to support retreating American and South Korean troops. After returning to Britain, she was later recommissioned and deployed to the Pacific before finally being decommissioned in 1963. HMS Belfast was docked on the River Thames and opened to the public as a museum on October the 21st, 1971, Trafalgar Day. There's the Shard. I know that the top 20 floors of that for the next few weeks are lit up in as a Union Jack, as is only right and proper, and that looks proper gorgeous. I'll insert a photo there for you now. Going under the Wobbly Bridge It will always be the wobbly bridge to me. It's probably still wobbling. Millennium Bridge.
Exit the front of the boat for Blackfriars, front of the boat, Blackfriars.
And we are at Blackfriars already. It is blooming brisk on here. I can see why everybody's sitting inside where there's a nice refreshment area. These are blooming nice boats. Blooming nice boats. Well, they put heating on. Heating's coming from somewhere. Yeah, I haven't been to Tate Modern in quite a while. I go to Tate Britain more often. I'm a classicist. Although I do like some modern art, and I probably should go and experience what's really modern about modern art. Love these buildings over here. Is that the Finn? I do love London skyscrapers. I love how they obviously fuse with all the old buildings, but I think they're some of the most incredibly designed pieces of architecture of modern times. You know I love the gherkin. He's my favourite, the little gherkin for the bullet. Bit of a bump there, a bump at Blackfriars. There's a fair coming up on South Bank during the summertime that I'm hopefully going to go and get along to, so you can come along with me. Hopefully it'll be very, very warm, because right now I'm freezing and I'm wearing open toe wedges, which I think I did very well on the cobbles through the Tower of London with, by the way. Is it going round? Can you see it? Westminster there. There's some lights on, you can see the little lights. I haven't filmed it again. This is the back of the boat with these blue seats. I thought I'd give you like a little bit of a thing. And then this one in particular has 2 rows at the very helm? I don't know. Out there exposed. This bit's under canopy. This one's great. There you go, have a bit of Westminster. We've already got some good shots of that. And then when I'm getting off, I'll try and whiz you through the inside. It's really nice on there. It's just like a really wide train. There's nice seats of 4. It's warm. There's a little refreshment area in the middle. It's very, very nice. Very pleasant way to travel. Bishop of London. You can't actually go in there. I think they open it up like once a year. Let me bring you in a bit. There you go. It's a bit of a shame we can't go in because there is a killer library in there apparently. It's got some really good stuff. buildings here in Vauxhall. The way they're built, like to look a bit circular, they remind me of like stacked coins. MI5. Such a cool building.
You'll be shortly arriving at Vauxhall St George Wharf Pier. Any passengers wishing to disembark, start making your way towards the back of the boat. Once again, that is the back of the boat for St George Wharf Pier, Vauxhall. Our next stop will be Battersea Power Station.
Passengers will exit at the back of the boat.
These buildings here by St George Wharf Pier, Vauxhall, because they look like open books at the top. See that square building there with like the really funky design? That's the American Embassy. It was once upon a time up in Grosvenor Square, but it is now in Vauxhall. I think you should demand a bigger flag. Definitely needs a bigger flag, guys. And we're now approaching Battersea. These are cool, they look like the helm of a ship. And here is the power station again. I haven't actually been in this since it opened. I think I will soon, because it's like a shopping centre. There are loads of YouTube videos about it, but it's pretty cool how they've worked like the old industrial element into the design, which I was really hesitant about because I love Battersea and I never ever want to see it destroyed, so at least it has a purpose now.
And Battersea Power will be disembarking at the back of the boat. Once again, that is Battersea Power Station for the back of the boat. The next stop will be Cadogan Pier.
Cadogan Pier. I think I'm actually going to go inside and warm up for a little bit, because now I've got my shot of Battersea Power Station. Swish new station they have there at Battersea Power Station. That is so cool. And just like that, I'm back on dry land. I just thought I'd pop on just to say a massive thank you for watching this special VE80 vlog from London. I really hope you enjoyed it. Give us a thumbs up if you did, and if you learnt something, because that's important and it's the name of the game. I also really look forward to hearing everything that you did for VE80 down in the comments below. If you saw something on telly that you thought was brilliant, that like blew you away, let me know. I'd love to hear about it, just in case I missed it. I saw a photo of the Albert Hall last night and I just thought it looked magnificent, and they had a concert there and also they illuminated it, which looked fantastic. So I cannot wait to hear about what you did for VE82. Until next time, thank you for watching again. Take good care of yourselves. Loads and loads of love from London, Queenie. Mwah.